Most men chase. The few who are truly desired, don't. You've been told to be nice, be supportive, always be available. And yet, the men who drive women wild, the ones they crave, dream about, and obsess over, are rarely the ones who follow those rules. Why? Because desire doesn't respond to logic. It responds to polarity, mystery, psychological tension, and an unshakable sense of masculine presence. The truth is brutal. You can do everything right and still be ignored. Or you can learn technique number 1, a psychological switch that activates her craving instinct and makes her see you as the man she can't resist. This guide isn't about manipulation. It's about mastery. The kind of mastery that creates real attraction. Deep arousal. Emotional addiction. And it begins with understanding what makes women desire, not just love, a man. So if you're tired of being the nice guy who gets overlooked. If you're done settling for lukewarm attention and dead-end flings. Then read on. Because what you're about to learn will flip the entire dynamic in your favor. Why she doesn't crave you, yet. She likes you. She laughs at your jokes. She says you're sweet. And yet, when it comes to choosing, the man she loses sleep over, the one she fantasizes about, it's never you. If that stings, good. That means you're ready for the truth. Because here's the truth no one tells you, craving is not about compatibility. It's about tension. Polarity. Anticipation. Presence. The women you want are biologically wired to seek out emotional and energetic dominance, not control, but grounded leadership. Not aggression, but centered masculinity. And most men have been trained to neuter this exact quality. From school to media to relationships, you've been rewarded for being compliant, agreeable, and emotionally safe. But women don't crave safety alone, they crave the spark. The energy that makes her feel seen, challenged, and alive in your presence. This guide is not about tricks. It's about tapping into the deep masculine energy that naturally causes feminine craving. If you want her to crave you, not just emotionally, but sexually and spiritually, you need to step into a version of yourself that few men ever reach. Let's begin. 1. The illusion of logic, why nice fails and polarity wins. Most men think relationships work like equations. If you show up, support her, text her back, and treat her well, she should respond with desire. That's not how it works. In fact, the more logical your approach, the less she feels. Because feminine desire isn't. 2. Masculine energy, the forgotten force women yearn for. In the modern world, the concept of masculinity has been diluted. Society has taught men to suppress their natural edge, to tone it down, to avoid being too much. But here's the truth that most will never say out loud. A woman cannot feel full feminine expression unless she's in the presence of full masculine energy. This doesn't mean dominance in the way weak men express it, through aggression, control, or volume. It means presence. Stillness. Direction. Calm intensity. It means being the grounded force that she can surrender into without fear. What is masculine energy? Masculine energy is the unchanging pole, the eye of the storm. It is stillness amidst chaos, decisiveness amidst uncertainty. Where the feminine flows, the masculine holds. She is emotion, movement, beauty, reaction. You are silence, depth, direction, and command. When a woman is in the presence of strong masculine energy, she naturally relaxes into herself. She softens. She surrenders. Not because she is weak, but because she feels safe to open. The craving begins here. Not with words. Not with gifts. With the energetic charge that makes her feel held and awakened at the same time. How masculine energy creates craving. Craving is not a surface-level desire. It is an instinctual pull toward a man who makes her feel something she can't find anywhere else. Masculine energy creates craving in 3 key ways. Emotional leadership. You're not reactive. You don't mirror her chaos. You lead the emotional space with steadiness and calm. She can cry, rage, swirl, and you remain unmoved yet present. That's power. Command without control. You don't control her. But you do set direction. You speak with clarity. You lead with vision. She follows, not because you demand it, but because she trusts your energy. Sexual gravity. You walk into a room and your posture speaks. Your voice carries weight. Your gaze penetrates. She feels it without words. You're not trying to be sexy. You just are. Because you've owned your core. Why most men lose this edge? Most men lose their masculine energy for one of two reasons. Conditioning, years of messaging that say, don't be too intense, be emotionally sensitive at all times, and masculinity is toxic. Neediness, when your energy is focused on getting approval, affection, or validation, you collapse into feminine energy, and the polarity dies. Here's what happens when polarity dies. She starts pulling away. She becomes less affectionate. Less sexually available. Less engaged. Not because she's evil. But because she can't feel your edge anymore. The craving vanishes. Reclaiming masculine presence. You don't get masculine energy by faking alpha behavior or watching TikToks about dominance. You build it from the inside out. Through self-control, delay gratification. Own your impulses. Through direction, have a mission bigger than her. Be moving forward at all times. Through silence, speak less. Observe more. Hold eye contact without needing to break it. Through grounded sexuality, your desire is calm, steady, unashamed, and you're never needy for her body. A man like this isn't begging to be wanted. He's focused on his path, and that is exactly what makes her crave him. When she feels your grounded energy, her body responds before her mind does. That's when craving starts to bloom. And it has nothing to do with your words. Remember. She wants to feel small next to your power, not your size. Your power. She wants to feel safe in your presence, but never bored. She wants to feel chosen, not because you need her, but because you could have anyone, and you picked her. This is masculine energy in its most magnetic form. And it's the foundation for technique number 15, which will build toward piece by piece. 3. Emotional tension, the oxygen of desire. You've felt it before. That electric charge in the air when a woman locks eyes with you for a second too long. That flutter of heat in your chest when your hands almost touch. That space between kiss and contact, where nothing happens, yet everything happens. That's not coincidence. It's not luck. It's emotional tension, and it is the very oxygen that attraction breathes. What is emotional tension? Emotional tension is the space between comfort and intensity, the psychological and physical build-up before release. It's the exact thing that makes her lean in, feel on edge, in a good way, and obsessively replay the interaction long after you've left. Without tension, desire suffocates. With tension, even the smallest moment can become unforgettable. Why emotional tension triggers craving? Craving is not built in the obvious. It's built in the almost. The what if? The did he mean that? The why can't I stop thinking about him? When you leave open loops, unfinished emotional moments, subtle innuendos, moments of close proximity without touch, you activate her limbic brain, the emotional center that responds to uncertainty and excitement. That emotional system thrives on tension. Here's what tension does. It makes her chase, because you're not always giving 100%. It keeps her guessing, because you're not always emotionally on call. It creates depth, because your interactions aren't one-dimensional. It makes you memorable, because the body remembers tension more than words. The spectrum of tension, from boring to obsessive. Let's look at how men exist on the spectrum. 2 safe, 0 tension. You're always available. You reply instantly. You never challenge her. You overshare everything. Result? She feels secure, but 0 arousal. You're sweet, not unforgettable. 2 chaotic, high tension with no grounding. You ghost her, manipulate her, create anxiety without emotional presence. Result? She may feel intense desire briefly, but then cuts you off for her own emotional survival. Tension with grounding, the sweet spot. You're unpredictable but consistent. Mysterious but emotionally aware. Dominant but non-controlling. She feels pulled in, and safe staying. That middle point, where her heart races but still feels held, is where obsession grows. How to build emotional tension, without games. Most men either fear tension or misuse it. You're not here to play games. You're here to stimulate her emotionally, with respect, not manipulation. Here's how to build real tension that leads to craving. Hold eye contact longer than feels comfortable. Don't look away. Don't flinch. Let your gaze say what words can't. Pause before you speak or touch. Slowness creates suspense. And suspense builds heat. Tease, don't please. Light, playful challenges stir energy. For example. You're trouble, aren't you? With a smirk. Or, I don't know if I should trust you yet. Speak less. Mean more. A few powerful, emotionally loaded sentences are better than a flood of logic. You want her thinking about what you said, not just listening. Create push-pull moments. This is key. Engage emotionally, then step back slightly. Lean in, then pause. Examples. Send a voice message with warmth, then don't text for 12 hours. Be intensely present on a date, then disappear for a day or two. Compliment her femininity, then tease her about being a little wild. The message you're giving her subconscious is: you can have some of me, but not all. You have to earn the rest. And that, right there, is what creates craving. Emotional tension is not about neglect, it's about intentional contrast. Let's be clear, you are not ignoring her, being emotionally unavailable, or withholding affection to punish her. You are creating intentional contrast. Warmth and edge. Mystery and attention. You are a man who can show love, but doesn't give it cheaply. 4. The craving curve, how women desire in cycles. If you think attraction is a switch that flips on or off, you're already losing. Female desire isn't logical. It doesn't obey your timing. It doesn't follow a calendar. It follows something much older, something ancient. Something cyclical. Welcome to the craving curve, the emotional rhythm that governs how and when women crave. The myth of instant desire. Modern dating advice teaches men to focus on quick attraction. Make her laugh. Look good. Send the right text. Be confident. Those things help, but they're surface level. They might get her attention. They won't create long-term craving. Because real, deep attraction, the kind that makes her fantasize about you, feel pulled to you without knowing why, isn't born in the first few minutes. It's born over time. And more importantly, it's born in emotional phases. The 4 stages of the craving curve. Let's break it down into 4 psychological phases. 1. Curiosity, the spark phase. She notices you. There's something different. It could be your presence, the way you speak, how you move. She's not fully invested, but something feels off-center. A mystery. There's something about him. At this stage, your goal is not to impress her, but to create curiosity by being unreadable, grounded, and slightly aloof. You're not trying to win her. You're giving her something to wonder about. 2. Emotional engagement, the stirring phase. Now she starts investing emotionally. She opens up slightly. She teases, flirts, or becomes more animated around you. But this is where most men kill the craving, by becoming too available, texting too much, over-explaining their interest, trying to lock her down too soon. Instead, you want to build emotional contrast. Pull her in with attention. Push her away with independence. Stir curiosity with your silence. Surprise her with unexpected depth. You're keeping the tension alive, but slowly letting her taste your emotional richness. 3. Withdrawal, the craving peak. Here's where things get interesting. You intentionally pull back, not out of fear, but with confidence. You let space form. Why? Because emotional withdrawal intensifies her reflection. Suddenly, your absence becomes louder than your presence. Why hasn't he texted? Did I say something wrong? Why do I keep thinking about him? This is the dopamine spike. The brain rewards uncertainty with obsession. If you've been creating emotional tension and energetic charge, she will start projecting desire onto you, even fantasizing about reconnecting. 4. Re-engagement, the devotional bloom. After you've created that space. After she's started to feel the ache of your absence. You return. But not in a needy, I missed you, kind of way. You return intentionally, with calm confidence. And here's the secret. The first few moments of re-engagement are the most emotionally charged minutes in your entire dynamic. This is where you lock in the craving. Because now, your presence feels even more powerful than before. If you touch her now, lightly on the small of her back. If you whisper something low and personal in her ear. If you look her in the eyes and just smile, saying nothing. Her nervous system will spike with a cocktail of dopamine, oxytocin, and adrenaline. It's emotional addiction, rooted in safety, mystery, and depth. You've taken her through a full cycle of emotional alchemy. Sparked her curiosity. Engaged her emotionally. Left her wondering. Returned with presence and power. This is how you create a psychological craving loop. The hidden layer, hormonal craving. This craving curve doesn't just play out emotionally. It activates her biologically. Dopamine drives desire. Oxytocin drives bonding. Serotonin drives memory. Cortisol plus tension drive obsession. And when these are layered over time with sensual moments, mystery, and masculine presence, her body literally begins to associate you with emotional elevation. That's the formula behind, I don't know why, but I can't stop thinking about him. 5. The technique, anchored craving. If you've followed the journey so far, you understand how to build presence, create emotional tension, and ride the craving curve to pull her closer. But what if you could anchor those feelings? What if you could make her crave you every time she sees, hears, or even thinks about a simple, subtle trigger? This is the secret most men miss, anchored craving. What is anchored craving? Anchoring is a psychological technique borrowed from neuro-linguistic programming, NLP, and emotional psychology. It's about linking an intense emotional state to a specific stimulus, so that whenever she encounters that stimulus, she automatically experiences the same emotional state, in this case, craving for you. Why anchoring works? Your brain loves shortcuts. It wants to automatically feel desire without having to think consciously. By creating these emotional shortcuts, anchors, you embed yourself deep inside her subconscious. This means she'll crave you even when you're not around. Small reminders will spark memories of passion. You become part of her emotional autopilot. How to create anchored craving in 3 steps. Step 1. Choose your anchor. This is a unique, repeatable cue. It can be a specific word or phrase you say with intention. A particular scent, like a cologne or even the smell of coffee. A subtle touch, like a finger brush on her hand. A shared song or sound. Step 2. Build emotional intensity around the anchor. Every time you introduce the anchor, layer it with High emotional energy, laughter, teasing, deep eye contact. Physical connection, light touch, proximity. Playful tension, teasing or mysterious comments. For example, when you lightly brush her hand and say your chosen phrase, do it during a moment of playful tension or intimacy. This binds the anchor with her heightened emotional state. Step 3. Repeat with consistency. Repeat this anchored stimulus during multiple positive, emotionally charged moments. The repetition deepens the subconscious link. Real-life example, anchoring in action. Imagine you pick a phrase, only you. Each time you say it, you do so slowly, with a smirk, while lightly touching her wrist. During moments of teasing or intimacy. Over time, whenever she hears or recalls only you, her nervous system jumps back to those charged moments with you, flooding her with craving. Why most men fail at anchoring? They lack awareness of emotional states. They don't repeat the anchors consistently. They pick weak or generic anchors. They don't build real emotional intensity before introducing anchors. Anchoring isn't a trick, it's a deep psychological imprinting that requires emotional skill and timing. The technique summary. Pick a unique, subtle anchor. Pair it with strong emotional and physical moments. Repeat it consistently to deepen the subconscious craving. Use it sparingly and strategically to amplify desire over time. Bonus, sample anchors you can use. A phrase like, "You're mine," whispered playfully. A specific way you touch her earlobe or collarbone. Wearing a unique cologne she comments on. A song you both share that you play during dates. A signature smile or eyebrow raise paired with teasing. Next steps. Mastering this final technique turns attraction into obsession. It takes everything you've built and cements it deep in her subconscious. This is what makes her crave you long after you part. Would you like me to continue by providing in-depth scripts and real-world examples for anchors? How to combine anchoring with text messaging and in-person interactions. Advanced troubleshooting for when craving stalls or fizzles out. Or should we start polishing this into a full-length, detailed guide?